The 848th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code MMA SGPN.
Heidi ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 848 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Phil Rowe, because I had a Phil Rowe inside the distance plus 300 prop play on the weekend. So thank you, Phil Rowe. This episode goes out to you, and thank you to everyone who is tuning in. I am your host, Jeff Fox, aka Kaiser Del Busto. Don't worry, new nickname is coming. People are asking. I think it's a few weeks, so you know what nickname I want to steal, but I can't really steal it yet, Gumby, until we mention that person. You know the person?
Oh, yeah. Contender series?
Yeah. So we
that's
still
not
have a little
until
while.
the end of August.
Yeah,
though.
I'm sure something will come up before then.
Yeah.
Something will come up before then. That's Daniel Gumby Vreeland. He is always Gumby, forever Gumby. We're not going to talk UFC. We'll talk UFC in a couple of days. We're going to talk some PFL here. Actually, before we talk PFL, how did the old European regional MMA go with you? Octagon and KSW on the weekend.
So it didn't go as well as the LFA PFL that happened, it was LFA and PFL that happened before it, which we had already watched by the time our last episode had aired. Now we've seen KSW and Octagon. A little bit of a mixed bag of results, but came out up a unit on those two events together, which gives us plus 27 units on regional MMA for the year.
That's okay. See, you're still up, so that's fine.
Quite a bit, actually. Yeah.
Yes. Everyone had fun, and you're still up, so there you go. All right. We're going to dive into some PFL. We got some semifinals. So people, as people march towards $500,000, doesn't sound as good as the $1 million tournament, but hey, times are tough apparently in the PFL.
It is two less fights. It does. I mean, like I'm not here. Right. I'm not here to cut Don Davis slack. He makes other questionable choices surrounding his weigh-ins and various other stuff. I'm not here to cut him slack. I promise you, I will not do that. But to be fair, I guess if you are going to make them fight for $500,000. Giving them a few less people to duke it out with, as well as a few less fights to have to fight, is at least like a bone for the people who are now in this tournament.
Yep. Good point, Gumby. Good point. Thanks for always taking up for Dale Davis. Not Dale Davis, the former Indiana Pacer All-Star. Don Davis. Don Davis. All right. Before we dive into PFL, let me let you know, one of the things that our network is known for is back. College football team previews are back on the College Experience. Colby Dant and Moneyline Mac preview every FBS college football team, and you don't want to miss it. This goes on forever. There's a lot of teams, and they go in depth on all of it. So make sure you check out the College Experience on our network. All right, now we're going to check out some PFL. Let's see what fancy name they got for this one. PFL World Tournament 6 2025 semifinals with a colon in between those. Fantastic name. It's going down on the 20th, which would be a Friday night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, because that's a logical time to start an event on a weeknight. INTRUST Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas. 13 fights. Pretty much going to cover almost all of them. Maybe with the lightning round, we'll end up touching them all for you. So
I didn't realize it was 13. I have 2 lightning round picks, which means I didn't make picks for one fight.
Well, I'm going to press you and make you pick the other one. So you get ready for that. Okay, and then people can't complain. People can be like, hey, they did every fight. All right, we're doing tournament alternate fights because we're covering the prelim portion of this here bout. So these people are hoping someone gets injured or pops for drugs or visa issues or something like that. So Saray Orozco, is that her last name? I lost her. Yes, Saray Orozco. She's from Mexico. Ilara, Joanne from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds, 125. So they are a flyweight alternate in the female side. Roz, you've seen the odds, I take it, Gumby?
I've seen the odds on everything. Yeah,
they've changed a lot since I saw them last night. I just updated them before we recorded. There's a lot of movement on these early.
I only saw them this morning, so I guess I guess I'd be interested to hear how they move too when you drop them.
Like I'm going to remember. It's varied, but we'll see. Orozco we'll start with. Killer Queen is 8-6, 2 knockouts, 1 submission. I didn't sing for you. Don't worry. I'm not a real big Queen fan. She's been submitted once, so she's durable. 0-1 in the PFL. She's won 2 of 3 and 4 of 6. Lost her last bout. That was back in June of 2024. She's not won since May of 2023. She is regional champ. She's fight at 115, 2015 pro MMA debut. 2-inch Charlotte Joanne, plus 120. Arya Stark. I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan either, but I do know that's from that show. She is 12-10. 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. She's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times. 1-2 in PFL, 1-4 over her last 5. Got TK out in her last bout. 3-4 in Bellator, RIP. Used to fight at 135, 2013 pro MMA debut. 3 years younger than Orozco, minus 150.
First of all, I just want to shout you out for giving 2 different fan bases a reason to be mad at you before I made any picks. So yeah, they're gonna be mad at people. All Queen fans and Game of Thrones fans can put their hate towards Jeff in the comments for us. Pick the algorithm up too. In this one, I'm gonna go with Joanne. I was a little surprised to see her as a favorite, being she's lost as many fights recently as she has, but it just goes to show, like, with her strength of schedule, like what she's been up against. You mentioned all those losses, but it's like, Jenna Bishop's in there and Liz Carmouche is in there. And like, even if you watch those fights, granted the one with Liz Carmouche was pretty short, but like she got tagged by Liz Carmouche early in that fight and then like pressed Liz Carmouche up against the cage while she tried to recover and like held her there for a decent amount of time. There were moments in that fight where Jenna Bishop went to take her down and she like scrambled and came out on top on Jenna Bishop and landed some ground and pound. So like, yes, her record looks terrible and her recent fights haven't gone her way, with the exception of just like that 1-4 in her last 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, she hasn't looked good lately, but she does have these like moments against like really high level of competition. And you just can't say that for Orozco. In fact, like, went back and watched one of her more recent fights. It's just like, she seems clueless if you've got her moving backwards. Like if you force her to move backwards, it seems like she's got no idea how to throw a strike, how to pivot away from a strike, how to defend grappling. Like, she just winds up either pressed up against the cage or eating punches and flailing her arms. Now, when she moves forward, she's actually a pretty decent striker. Like, I like her kicks to the body. She puts decent combinations together and stuff like that. But it's like, with Joanne having success in the clinch against Liz Carmouche and having success in the clinch against Jenna Bishop, why would she move backwards against Saray Orozco, right? Like, she should just be moving forward and wind up in the clinch. And it's not typically the way she's won her fights necessarily, that dominant grappling or anything like that. But like, in this fight, I think she has a large enough advantage there. And then even, it's in terms of the striking, like, Orozco, again, if she's moving forward, is probably better. But like, if they're just stand in the middle and through, I think they probably pretty much equal each other out. So I'll take the slightly better the much better grappler and the probably slightly better striker in terms of Joanne as a slight favorite here.
All right. Joanne is the pick to kick things off. We got another alternate belt, this one in men's lightweight. Tony Caruso from Australia, Vinicius Cenci from Brazil. We will tell you about Cenci first. Shambino, Little something, a little Champ. I think we talked about him, this nickname before.
We did.
He's a little Champ. 8-3, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. He's been submitted 3 times. He hosts his rounds. 0-1 in PFL. Loss over his last 3. Got submitted in his last bout. 0-1 in Contender Series. Who did he lose to, Gumby?
Cenci was on Contender Series?
You don't know the answer. Interesting.
I don't even remember him. It's got to be Brazilian.
Probably. He is Brazilian. I'll have to look it up now if you don't know. Little Champ fought... No drum roll. This isn't dramatic enough for a drum roll. He's got a whole bunch of record ineligible fights too. That's another thing on him. He's got a whole lot of.
I didn't notice that as well.
Yeah. Where is his contenders? Sam Patterson he lost to, so it was not Brazil. Yeah,
I don't remember that at all. Oh, he got choked out by rear naked choke, second round, right?
Yep. You spent at 170, 5 years younger than Caruso, an inch taller, an inch of reach, minus 115. This one is a pick'em. Caruso is the Spartan. The Spartan versus Little Champ, 10-2, 1 knockout, 5 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. 0-1 in PFL. He's won 2 straight and 3 of 5. He's not lost since February 2023. He went 1-1 in 1 championship, the biggest promotion in history of mankind. A regional champion. He's fed at 170, 185. 2013 pro MMA debut. 2-1 as a pro boxer. He's at minus 115 as well. So like I said, a true pick'em.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Cenci in this pick'em. On one hand, I do kind of like Caruso's boxing. Like, early in the fight, his boxing with was it Romero? He fought Anthony Romero. Looked pretty good. But the problem with me for him is that, like, once you've forced him into a dogfight or once you've tired him out a little bit, he gets really sloppy. You know, he starts to wing his shots a little bit. You know, anytime you touch him, he wants it back so bad that he doesn't do the fundamental thing to get it back. So, like, if he just stuck to his fundamentals and stayed with his boxing, still not sure I'd pick him in this fight, but I'd have a lot better time or a lot easier time considering him. And instead, like, I just kind of feel like he gets worse as the fight goes on. And then also in that Romero, it was Romero, right? I want to say it's Romero.
You're going to make you look it up again, aren't you?
I'm almost positive it's Anthony Romero.
Are you talking about Caruso or are you talking about Cenci?
Caruso.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
he fought Anthony Romero. In that Romero fight, Romero like bodied him early in terms of the grappling. He wound up on top a whole bunch of times. And the bigger piece I have a problem with is like the first time Romero shot in for a takedown, Caruso's instinct was to turn his back and like try to run away. And it like didn't work. And he also gave up his back in the process. And it wasn't even like it was up against the cage and he was like using that as a method to like, you know, scrape him off on the cage or something. Like it was in the middle of the cage he shot and he like turned around and gave up his back. And I was like, that's not an escape anybody uses ever. And it would never work. And it didn't work. And like, I don't know that Cenci is going to grapple him, but it like does open that avenue where like, I feel like Cenci's better than that. And he's facing a boxer. And Cenci's physically strong. Like, you know, I just mentioned how I liked Joanne because she had like done well in grappling exchanges. Even if she didn't win all the grappling exchanges, she had done well in grappling exchanges with high level grapplers. Cenci looked pretty decent against Brett Primus when he did. And some of that was that he had thrown so many like lead knees that he had kind of like, it seemed like scared Primus away from shooting a little bit. Obviously he's not going to worry about Caruso shooting, but like those knees to the body and those step in knees could do damage to Caruso and also could get him, you know, doing some really weird defensive stuff, as I just mentioned. And then in addition to that, Cenci's got some like nice kicks. And he's really physically strong. I think that's the other thing here is that like if he winds up in the clinch regularly with Caruso, because he is doing step in knees and getting closer and closer, I think there's a good chance that like Caruso starts to get tired. Because as I mentioned before, he gets sloppy when he gets tired, seems to get tired fairly easily, particularly in grappling exchanges. So as long as Cenci like just forces him to carry some of his weight and his size, because he's a big dude. You know, you watch the fight with Primus, he's way bigger than Primus. Granted, Primus is kind of a shorter dude for this weight class, but he's way bigger than Primus. So I think if he makes Caruso carry some of that weight, he's going to tire him out. He's going to get sloppy. Those knees and kicks are going to work. And then, hey, mix in the jiu-jitsu if you feel like it, because I think he'd be way better in that realm too. So give me Vinicius Cenci at the pick'em price here.
All right, we all get a little sloppy when we're tired. That's just the way it goes. So,
that's
all right,
true.
little Chamb is the pick. All right, you know what else is our pick? You guys getting in on the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway. That is what Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas. Be treated like VIPs for their stay. You get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. And you can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. So enter the ultimate fantasy football contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Circa. That would be sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And we're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using crypto. You can check out all the PFL lines we're talking about here over at mybookie.ag. And when you do, check them out. Make sure you enter our code to sign up, MMA SGPN. And if you do, you get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. All right, we got another, is this a tournament or an alternate fight? This is a alternate fight again. This one is men's bantamweight. The Russian Magomedov versus, not from Russia, Sarvarjon Khamidov. He is from Tajikistan. They are fighting, as I said, at 135, 3 5-minute rounds. I will tell you about Khamidov first. Sarvar is the nickname. He is 16-0, 3 knockouts, 5 submission. He's making his debut in PFL here. He's went 3-0 at Bellator, RIP. He's a regional champ. He's fight at 145, 6 years younger than Magomedov, plus 115. Tiger is Magomedov's nickname. 20-4, 3 knockouts, 11 submissions. He's been submitted once. He is durable. This is his debut as well. Loss over his last 5. He's not fought since May of 2024. He went 4-3 in Bellator, RIP to Bellator. Regional champion. He's fought at 145, 155, and 170. 2011 pro MMA debut. He's got inch height, inch reach over Khamidov, minus 145. So another close one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Khamidov here. I'm gonna take the slight dog. Some of it is that I think I was originally higher than on Magomedov due to his split decision against Patchy Mix, and man, does that feel like it aged not as well as I wanted it. Yeah, how am I supposed to handicap Patchy Mix stuff going forward? Like,
yeah,
was that a fluke or like is that just?
I guess it depends who he's fighting next. I guess hopefully he gets a real big step down, and we don't have to.
Like he should be fighting somebody who is coming off Contender Series after that, which is funny because we were just talking about a possible title shot with a win.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he had a split decision with Magomedov that I think Mix won pretty comfortably, in my opinion. Anyway, but you know, he had some decent wrestling going in there. He tried to get his striking going, Magomedov did, but like couldn't really find a home for a lot of it. He does a lot of he throws combinations, but he switches stances as he moves in. It's like that wading in, throw a right when you're standing orthodox and a left when you're standing southpaw, and like build a combination that way. And he tries to stay elusive that way. And it seemed like it maybe affected his accuracy trying that too many times and not really finding a home. And I don't know how good Patchy Mix is defensively because I don't know what to say about him as a fighter anymore. And from Khamidov's standpoint, I trust the way he's striking a little bit more often. You know, Khamidov is like very light on his feet. He's very bouncy, but it's all with a purpose. Closes range really well, gets away from people really well. So I like that about him. And then in addition to that, like they're different kind of wrestlers, but they're both pretty good wrestlers. So I'm sort of in this place, and I mean, I guess kind of the odds are too, where I don't think you can trust either one to control the other one with grappling, right? Like I don't think Magomedov is a good enough grappler that you're like, oh, he's just going to dominate 3 rounds here, and ditto with Khamidov. You know, Khamidov is a touch different in that he's mostly double legs with his takedowns, and they're big power. Like he like the way his shoulder hits somebody's hip bones when he comes in for a takedown, it like almost looks like it's a strike at times. So he comes in with big power, has a big double leg. Magomedov's like, a little bit more trick based, a little bit more single leg takedown. It also seems like he got a lot of the takedowns he got on Patchy Mix by like Patchy jumping for a guillotine or like thinking he's in out of submission or thinking he's in out of sweep. And he actually did sweep him a couple of times. So I'll give him that. I think Khamidov settles into positions better. So like on the wrestling side, like I think it's probably fairly even, other than the fact that I kind of like Khamidov settling into position and like owning the position a little bit better. And then on the feet, like I said, I think Khamidov is just a little bit more elusive. He jumps in and out, and Magomedov's wading in, I think, could just get him caught. So give me Khamidov here as a slight underdog.
Okay, now we're to a tournament proper fight. This is women's 125, so flyweight tournament semifinals. The American Jena Bishop versus the Ukrainian Ekaterina Shakalova. Ekaterina Shakalova. We'll tell you about her first. Shakalova is 9-2, 1 knockout, 5 submissions. She's been submitted once, 1-0 in PFL. She's gone 8-1 over her last 9. She won via submission in her last bout. She went 1-1 Bellator, RIP. About to regional championships on her.
Mantle.
Correct. Get our merch at sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Use Fed at 135 and 145. 11 years younger than Bishop, plus 145. Bishop 8-2 with 4 submissions. She's been knocked out once. 2-2 in PFL. She's 1-2 over her last 3. 2-0 in Bellator, RIP Bellator. A lot of Bellator on this card. 9-5 as a pro grappler and a champion there. 2 inches of height, 4 inches of reach over Shakalova, minus 175.
You know I love me some Jena Bishop.
Yeah, you're not going to take her.
I'm not going to take her. I'm going to take Ekaterina Shakalova. Well, like to be fair, Shakalova proved us right in the last one too. I think I had her in the lightning round, and I was like, damn, I really just. Oh no, it might have been just like a prelim we were breaking down.
Oh yeah, she was one you wanted in the tournament, right?
Yeah, I was like, put her in the tournament, and then I think that was where what's her name pops for steroids, and she had to fight Juliana Velasquez, which Juliana Velasquez, former champ, damn good, and she went in there and she dominated her on the mat. Hit that single leg, wound up on her back, choked her out. Shakalova is the real deal when it comes to grappling, and like. I think she's better than Jena Bishop on the feet. Jena Bishop is kind of been a fighter who I've always loved because I'm like, her wrestling will help her win fights she probably shouldn't win, right? Because she's such a high-level grappler. But I don't even think she's as good of a – I guess maybe she's as good of a grappler as Shakalova. Like, maybe she's even better at jiu-jitsu. But I don't think she's better at wrestling and judo, and that kind of stuff matters here because, like, this is a fight where Shakalova might say, hey, I'd just rather be on the feet with you. Because, like, she stood on the feet and traded with Aspen Ladd in a 145-pound bout, which is 20 pounds heavier than this one is. and then like still kind of had her moments grappling somebody who is much, much, much larger than her. And like, Jenna Bishop, not a terribly big flyweight. Shakalova already proven that she can out grapple grapplers, or out wrestle grapplers in, I guess Velasquez is a grappler. Would you call Velasquez maybe a grappler? Like she's got good grappling, nevertheless. So like Shakalova already took it to her and beat her up on the ground. So like I really feel like Shakalova has the choice of where this fight takes place. I don't think Bishop's going to sub her off of her back. So like unless Shakalova takes a bad shot or gives up her back trying to do a head and arm throw like we always see in women's MMA, like unless she does that, I don't think Bishop's going to have the openings. And like her striking has come around in terms of like what it technically should look like, but because it's not, it's not native to her, it's not the thing she already does. She's having a lot of trouble finding the range. She's throwing the right strikes. She's throwing them from 4 inches further away than she ought to. And, I think when you're fighting somebody like Shakalova here, who does have decent hands, I think she boxes quite well. I think it's just going to be all Shakalova. So give me the underdog, Ekaterina Shakalova.
Right. All right. Okay, we got more plays for you. Don't you go away. But speaking of underdog, it's time for Gumby's bonus underdog pick 'em play right now. Underdog is going long for the NBA Finals with their extender bonus. Hop in game 1, and the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. Game 1 is over, though, ladies and gentlemen. Gumby, do you have a play for the people?
Yeah, we're on. You're getting this in your ears on Monday night. So on Tuesday, a game that everybody's going to watch in MLB is the Nationals versus the Rockies. Who wouldn't want to watch that game?
Of course.
But I'm going to take the higher than on Michael Soroka's strikeouts because at the end of that Braves series, it looked like the Rockies were trying to strike out 20 times a game if they could, and not for anything, Michael Soroka been on a nice little run here. He struck out 12 batters in his last 11 innings. So take the higher than on Michael Soroka's strikeouts.
The Rockies are second last in the league in strikeouts, almost 10 strikeouts a game. So there you go. I have that stat right off the top of my head.
The last 2 starters they've faced have struck them out 28 times in the last 2 games.
That's wild. There's some stinky teams in baseball this year. All right, take Gumby's play and sign up with our code MMA SGPN. That way you get to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And Rhythm. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won, has an high ROI, such as a strikeout prop, like we just talked about. A strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. We will be. Gumby has been with like a lot of his underdog plays are right off Power Trends, right?
Yeah, that's where I found out about Soroka because, it's obvious that the Rockies are doing pretty terrible in terms of strikeouts, but they also alerted me that Soroka might be striking out a couple more than you might even realize. So, always check out Rhythm for those types of things.
Yeah, and you can check it out for free. You get a 7-day free trial. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. All right. Main event of our episode, not necessarily the preview, because PFL's got like what, a 4-card main card or no? Actually, they got.
I don't know. They do the weirdest crap.
They have 5 now, 5 and 8.
I don't even pretend to understand them.
No, it was 4 and 9 the other day. Now they added one more card to the main card. So anyhow, this one currently is listed as the main event of the prelims. It is a tournament semifinal men's 155, so it'll be lightweight. Brent Primus, United States, Alfie Davis from England, 3 5-minute rounds. Let's break her down. Tell you about the Axeman, Alfie Davis, 18-5-1, 6 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been submitted once. That is durable. 1-1 PFL, 4-1 over his last 5, 4-2-1 over his last 7. TKO win in his last bout, 8-1-1 in Bellator RIP. Multiple region championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Used to fight at 170, 2014 pro MMA debut, 7 years younger, an inch of height over Primus, plus 160. The Bellator rip thing really gets tiring when you do PFL cards. PFL cards, because every fighter.
Isn't it funny how they just let all the champs walk, though? And then it's just got whatever was left of the Bellator.
Yes, whoever doesn't cost too much. Primus, 16-4 with 1 no contest, 2 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 4-1 in PFL. He's 4-1 over his last 5, 5-1-1. 5-1 with 1 no contest, over his last 7. Submission win in his last bout. 10-3 and 1 no contest in Bellator RIP. Former champion there for 1 bout. Used to fight at 170, 2010 pro MMA debut. 1-1 pro grappling. 3 inches of reach over Davis, minus 200.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brett Primus. I bet big Brett Primus guy for a long time here, and also
you're the one guy.
I think his style's fun. Like, it's good grappling at least, and it's exciting grappling. Like, wasn't he the guy who got a Gogoplata back in the day? I think he has a Bellator Gogoplata. Let's say
I just remember him. Oh, there's a good title right there. I just remember him making Michael Chandler's foot go dead. That's how I remember.
Well, who doesn't love him for that too?
Exactly.
And I think I've been a hater on Alfie Davis. So I'm going to continue to do that. He won his last fight. Look, I mean, you could say he planned that spinning back elbow or whatever it technically was against Clay Collard, but it really feels like an accident after it was done. Like, he might have been intending to throw a spinning thing, but he didn't expect it to land like it did. And, maybe props to him for doing that. But, like, I'm still looking back at his fight with Mansour Banoui, and, like, he was badly out-grappled in that fight, right? Like, he just kept getting put on his ass and just kept getting held there and, gave up some bad positions and stuff like that. And, like, Banoui is not a bad wrestler. He's not a bad grappler, but, like, should he be good enough to, like, I mean, is he Brett Primus good is the big question. And I don't think the answer is yes. Like, Brett Primus to me he continues to be a guy who is kind of questionable on the feet, who gets drawn into exchanges he should never be in. But he's also a guy who, as long as he has you down, he has the advantage. And he has a lot of advantages too. Because Brett Primus is a beast on the mat. He's got good jiu-jitsu and all that kind of good stuff. I think he puts Alfie Davis on his back 5 to 10 times here, unless he finds a submission in one of the first couple of them. So, yeah, give me Brett Primus here.
He got a Gogoplata over Tim Wild at Bellator Birmingham, May 4th, 2019. Right after he lost the belt to Chandler. It was his next fight after that. So, all right, to get your recap, and we'll get you some bonus plays here. He's got Primus. He's got Shakalova. He has got Khamidov. He has got Cenci. He has got Joanne. All right, later on, Zap Bam Boom Pow. If you want to save one for tomorrow's episode, you can.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll save one for tomorrow. So we'll hit you with 2 today, and if you want the last lightning round pick, we'll hit it tomorrow, especially because I don't even know what it is at this point. And I'm going to take Lazaro Dayron, Cuban wrestler. Went in there and got a draw with Danny Sabatello last time. I think he's got a good matchup here. And despite having a good matchup, his line really hasn't gotten out of control. If I'm not mistaken, last I checked, it was like negative 170 or something like
175.
that. So like a very playable line on a guy who will probably control that fight pretty easily. Because if you go in toe-to-toe and are able to kind of like wrestle and scramble with Danny Sabatello, props to you on that one. And then I'm going to take an underdog here with a really terrible record. Well, maybe not really terrible, but a bad enough record. And that's Alan Dominguez. The dude's strength of schedule is really incredible. He fought Lorenz Larkin. He fought Sergio Casio. He's just fought some like really high level dudes, mixed it up with them, has looked halfway decent in a lot of those fights. I want to say I took him in the Casio fight and was proven really wrong. But like, he's looked pretty darn good in a lot of these fights. And, having fought a really high level of competition, can't say the same for his opponent. And so I think Alan Dominguez is also a value. So Alan Dominguez, Lazaro Dayron are my 2 lightning round plays.
All right, Dominguez, so he's up plus 190. So
like it,
nice number. Yeah, gotta like that number. All right, you are all set until tomorrow, and then you'll be totally set with the LPFL. Until that time, and in between time, and at all times, the Discord is the place to be. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. You can hit us up on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, please and thanks. And on Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. Same as on Instagram at Jeff Fox Writer for me. Check out my Substack. Enter my UFC Pick'em contests at moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gumby's other podcast, the Top Turtle MMA podcast, where he's in the midst of a Dana White Contender Series spree of interviews, right? Do you know who's on this week?
Yeah, we got Alec Lorenz, who is guy we've definitely talked about on the show a bunch of times via Contender or via LFA rather. He's going to be fighting on Contender Series, so we're talking about his chance on that show as well. And then a little bit later on in that show, we're talking to Elijah Ellison, who has got one of the best nicknames in all of sports, and is he's got.
And I'm going to steal it.
Yeah, he's got an interesting story too. So make sure you tune into that.
All right, Top Turtle. Of course, all of our stuff is at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store for our mirth, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon for some bonus content. We'll be back tomorrow. It will be Shambino Fox and Killer Queen of Vreeland. We'll talk to you then.